My sister is the golden child of the family, and I won't be attending her wedding because she deliberately scheduled it on the same day as my other sister's graduation. I'm 23 years old, one of 7 siblings. There's Lydia, 31, Joss, 28, Leo, 25, me, Aaron, 21, Nadia, 18, and our surprise baby sister Lexi, who is 4. With so many siblings, it's easy to get lost in the crowd, and some of us have roles, so to speak. Lydia is the responsible one. Lexi is the baby. And me, I'm the one with a kid. Yes, I have a child, and that's my identifier. Erin, though, is the golden child. She was the last planned baby, the one meant to complete our family. She was born prematurely, and while I understand why our parents spoiled her a bit, it has gone far beyond that. Erin is getting married soon, and she recently announced they moved the wedding date up due to a cancellation. It's not a huge deal, except that the new date is the same day as Nadia's high school graduation. Erin acted understanding, but said the date was already locked in, and the invitations had been printed. Normally, our parents attend all of our high school graduations, but they told us they would have to skip Nadia's. At first, we were all understanding, until I learned from Nadia that she had told Erin about her graduation before Erin confirmed the new wedding date. Erin had laughed it off and went ahead with the booking anyway. This, unfortunately, is very typical of Erin. She once scheduled her engagement party on Nadia's 18th birthday, though thankfully Nadia wasn't celebrating that day. Erin also announced her engagement on our oldest sister Lydia's wedding anniversary. Everything always revolves around her. I confronted Erin, and she said Nadia's high school graduation wasn't important, and that she wanted to marry the love of her life as soon as possible. She even dismissed it by saying, "We still have Lexi's graduation to look forward to." What really upset me is that Nadia has been looking forward to her graduation for years. She watched all of us celebrate ours with our parents throwing big parties for each of us. When I asked Nadia what she wanted, she said she wanted her day, just like everyone else. So I told the family that Nadia and I wouldn't attend the wedding. Leo also decided not to go. Erin is furious, and I might have made it worse by telling her she'll still have plenty of siblings at her wedding since, to her, it's apparently all the same. Our mom is pressuring me to attend, saying that the wedding is more important than a graduation. But I feel like if I give in, it will set a precedent that Nadia will always matter less than Erin. Now I'm getting flooded with messages calling me an idiot and a jerk, telling me to be a good sibling. But I believe standing up for Nadia is exactly what a good sibling should do. My son was supposed to be the ring bearer, but with all this drama, I'm considering pulling him out of the wedding as well. My dad has tried to make it up to Nadia by saying he'll take her to dinner after the wedding, but it's clear she's still hurt. She's currently staying with me because our mom keeps pestering her to let it go. Update 1. 2 days have passed since the wedding, and a lot has happened. I'll summarize as best I can. First, Nadia wants to thank everyone who congratulated her on her graduation. She was overwhelmed by the support, especially after facing so much backlash from our family. Last Friday, Leo and I went to talk to our parents to officially inform them that I was pulling my son out of Erin's wedding. Our older siblings ended up joining us, Lydia and Joss, which meant the 4 of us were there to support Nadia. Leo had already spoken to our parents the night before, helping them see things from Nadia's perspective. Apparently, they didn't realize Erin had intentionally chosen the conflicting date. When we confronted them, things got heated. There was a lot of shouting. Erin accused me of trying to sabotage her wedding. My parents tried to convince me to let my son still participate, but I stood firm, feeling much stronger with my older siblings by my side. Lydia, being the eldest, held significant influence. She didn't let Erin or our parents dismiss the issue. Lydia pointed out that Erin had admitted to choosing the date on purpose and that this behavior was part of a pattern. Lydia warned them that if they continued blatantly favoring Erin, the rest of us might cut contact, and that Lexi could very well follow our lead in the future. This clearly struck a nerve. Our dad, surprisingly, lost his temper. Not at us, but at Erin. It was shocking to see his anger directed at her for once. He'd always been lenient with her, but this time he seemed to reach a breaking point. Our mom asked us to leave, and we didn't hear from them until Monday. That's when Aaron's fiancé, George, reached out and asked to meet at our parents' house. During the meeting, George apologized to Nadia, explaining that he hadn't known the wedding date clashed with her graduation, or that Aaron had done it on purpose. Our dad had apparently been the one to tell him. We had a long discussion. Each of us aired our grievances. I told my parents that it felt like they valued Aaron above all of us. Her achievements were always celebrated. Her art was displayed on the fridge, while ours ended up in drawers. I said that as a parent, I couldn't imagine treating my child like that. Aaron tried to argue, claiming we were turning our parents against her and sabotaging her wedding. But surprisingly, our mom told her to stay quiet and let us speak. George told us he didn't expect us to attend the wedding at this point, but said we were welcome at the reception. He even admitted he wished he could cancel the wedding entirely, but it would cost too much money given how quickly they'd moved the date. Our mom's willingness to listen didn't last long, though. By Tuesday, she was already pleading with us to reconsider, saying Aaron was under extreme stress and people would question our absence. I haven't spoken to my mom since. I asked my dad to pick up Nadia's belongings, and she's now staying with me full-time. Officially, we've cut contact with our mom. On Wednesday, my dad took Nadia out for an early graduation celebration. They had a father-daughter day, which I think was exactly what she needed. He apologized for a lot of things and said he wanted to make amends with the rest of us as well, but that day was all about her. When she got back, she was beaming. Our dad even showed up early the next morning, at 6:30 a.m., with flowers for Nadia. He told her how proud he was of her. Later, George called to congratulate Nadia, which I genuinely appreciated. We didn't hear from Aaron or our mom. That day, my grandmother, on my dad's side, came to Nadia's graduation with us. It was a fantastic day. We didn't think about the wedding or Aaron. We just celebrated Nadia. My son wore her graduation cap and gown, drowning in the fabric, which gave everyone a good laugh. Even my grandmother tried on the cap for photos. My dad posted a heartfelt message on Facebook congratulating both Aaron on her wedding and Nadia on her graduation. We laughed, imagining how that might have irked Aaron. That night, as siblings, we gave Nadia money for a week-long trip with her best friend, a suggestion someone had left in the comments on my original post. I messaged George to congratulate him despite everything. I do believe Aaron loves him, even if her behavior often centers on herself. She's not marrying him just for attention. I think her intentions there are genuine. Still, moving the wedding date felt like a calculated move to ensure the spotlight was solely on her. For now, I'm staying no contact with my mom unless she makes significant changes. This sentiment is shared by most of my siblings and encouraged by both my dad and grandmother. Our mom has tried to contact me and my partner, mostly to scold us for distancing ourselves from her. We're focusing on family outings this summer before Nadia leaves for college. Even our dad is joining in, though it may deepen the rift between him and our mom. But for now, it seems like we're his priority. Lydia's warning to cut contact seems to have struck a chord with him. Thank you to everyone who commented on the original post. Your words gave Nadia the encouragement she needed to believe she was doing the right thing. Looking ahead, I see 2 empty seats at my own wedding, but I also see 5 siblings cheering me on. That's more than enough for me. Second update. It's been a few months since my last post, and I've received some requests for updates, so I decided to sit down and write one. Keep in mind that a lot can happen in 5 months, and that's definitely true for this situation. Let's start with July. Erin and her husband went on their honeymoon, and their absence threw our mom into a panic. She wasn't used to being without anyone around. Someone always visited her, mostly Erin, though the rest of us went out of obligation, or to see Nadia and Lexi. With Erin away and the rest of us out of contact, Mom had no visitors and she really didn't like that. Literally the day after Erin left, we started getting bombarded with phone calls. She tried to convince Nadia first. Lydia thought this was a strategic move since Nadia is the most timid of us, and therefore the easiest to persuade. When Nadia refused, Mom shifted her focus to the rest of us. We all received identical calls, where she tried to convince us to visit her, understand her, and see things from Aaron's perspective. She even brought up Aaron's premature birth, emphasizing what a miracle it was that she was alive. Joss told her she should focus on doing better with Lexi. Lydia blocked her number. When the phone calls didn't work, Mom started showing up at our houses, repeating the same things she'd said on the phone. She couldn't understand what she'd done so wrong, or why we were treating her this way. She called me ungrateful and disrespectful, accused us of harboring unnecessary jealousy toward Aaron, and claimed she loved us all equally. I didn't engage with her accusations. I just tried to keep her from entering the house, especially since Nadia was in the living room with my partner and my child. Her comments didn't deserve a response. When she finished, I calmly asked her to leave. But truthfully, I felt like crying. Who wouldn't feel terrible being yelled at by their mom, especially when she's minimizing years of pain and dismissing it as unnecessary jealousy? My siblings and I have been let down over and over again by her and Dad since Aaron was born. They missed countless big and small moments over the years, but we had one thing, just one thing they never missed: our high school graduations. That was enough for us. Yet they couldn't even give that to Nadia. Dad and Mom skipped Joss's college graduation because Aaron broke her leg. I understand it was an accident, but they never made it up to him. They never celebrated his huge achievement. He just had to grin and bear it. Mom missed my partner's baby shower too. After causing a fuss about it, she chose not to come because Aaron didn't want to attend and wanted to get their nails done instead. But our jealousy is unnecessary. I don't know how I managed to stay calm when Mom yelled at me, but I did. Asking her to leave prompted a new tactic. She started calling my child, trying to lure him to visit her and insisting she had a right to see her grandson. My partner stepped in at that point, furious, and took my place at the door. Mom yelled some more but left when my partner threatened to call the police. She pulled the same stunt with my older siblings, but got nowhere with them either. Then came the Facebook posts, walls of indirect text about ungrateful people, and how shocking it is for children to turn on their parents so easily. Somehow, Aaron got involved during her honeymoon and called Lydia to scold her for being mean to Mom. But Lydia, who had reached her limit, shut Aaron down so effectively that she didn't call the rest of us. Next, Mom posted on Facebook about how painful it was to be kept from her grandson. She didn't name names, but I'm the only one with a child. Then Mom's sister called me. There was yelling. I blocked her number. Dad, meanwhile, kept apologizing on Mom's behalf because she wouldn't listen to him either. Aaron returned home after 2 weeks and tried reaching out to Lydia again, asking us all to have a family meeting to resolve our issues. We didn't attend. Aaron was furious since she's not used to us refusing her requests. Not everything in July was bad. While Mom was in a rage, Dad was making an effort. He and I had lunch and drinks together, just the two of us. He apologized, not a generic apology he might have given everyone, but one that mentioned specific moments. He reflected on years of neglect and picked instances to personally apologize for. For example, he said he was sorry for canceling a fishing trip because Aaron needed him. I never cared much for fishing, but I wanted to go because I'd always seen fathers and sons fishing on TV. I wanted to experience that, to feel like a priority. It didn't happen, and I never asked again. But in July, we went fishing. What started as a father-son trip turned into a family outing when my siblings expressed interest. Nadia joined, and even Lydia, who hates the smell of fish, came along. Dad brought Lexi, and I brought my son. It was amazing. One of the best days of my life. I'm terrible at fishing, but pretty good at collecting seashells. It was a perfect day. When Dad went home, he and Mom argued. From what he told me, the fight was mainly because Mom couldn't understand why we were reconnecting with him and not her. She found it insulting that we were repairing our relationship with him. She was angry he wasn't pressuring us to forgive her or stop acting out. She was furious that he didn't invite her and Aaron on the fishing trip and got even angrier when he explained that their presence would have made us uncomfortable. Jaws turned 29 at the end of July. We booked an escape room for the 5 of us siblings, then had dinner with Dad and our partners. Jose introduced us to his new partner for the first time. That day was entirely about him, a rare occurrence in our family. The party his friends threw afterward left me with a massive hangover. By mid-August, Mom gave us the silent treatment. In September, Dad moved out. While Mom ignored us, she took most of her anger out on Dad, which deeply affected him. He was trying to do his best by us, but she kept painting us as villains. Finally, he told her that if she didn't take responsibility for her actions soon, she should contact a lawyer. Mom didn't take him seriously. Dad's been staying in Lydia's guest room since then. Mom claimed Dad was blind to how we were manipulating him. Unlike us, Dad still talks to Aaron regularly, and according to him, even Aaron told Mom to reconsider. Surprisingly, Aaron's involvement is what made Mom give in. I'm not sure if she's reflecting on how she's treated us, or just silently brooding. I know she asked Dad if he was coming back home, but he said it was better for them to have space for now. Personally, I find it hard to imagine a scenario where Mom genuinely admits she was wrong. I think she'll just say whatever it takes to get Dad back home and for us to talk to her again. I don't think she'll ever value us as much as she does Aaron. On a brighter note, there's officially less than a year until my wedding. Currently, there's no place for Mom or Aaron in it. My partner, Jade, and I decided to have our parents wear ties that match me and my groomsmen, a change from the original plan, but I'm happy with it. Nadia has settled into university, made a few new friends in her classes, and is enjoying herself. She's happy. Even though we have an active group chat, she video calls me every couple of days just to talk. Most of what she says I've already seen in the group chat, but I'm always happy to hear her stories again. Nadia never used to talk this much. She looks so much happier now compared to 5 months ago. I think that's it. Sorry for the novel, but like I said, a lot can happen in 5 months. Update 3. It's been about 7 months since my last update, and I thought it was time to write another one. I actually planned to sit down and write this a few months ago, but life got in the way. A lot has happened, mostly good things, though some not so good. I'm sure you can guess who or what caused the not so good moments. Mom was silent during Lydia's birthday in October, but made a big fuss over Aaron's in November. None of us make it a habit to check her social media accounts, and honestly, we would have blocked her if not for Lexi. But Leo sent a screenshot in the group chat of a post she made. The post basically painted Aaron as the perfect daughter, her precious angel, and said she'd always be proud of her. She didn't even mention Lydia on her page during her birthday, but honestly, it didn't surprise me. Thanksgiving was different, but fun. We all drove to our paternal grandparents' house a few hours away to spend it with them. Technically, it was supposed to be a year with the in-laws since Jade and I usually alternate holidays to make sure neither family is left out. But Jade suggested we change things this year so I could be with my siblings for the first big holiday since the split. My in-laws are amazing people and have been incredibly supportive through all of this. I'm truly grateful for them. Mom didn't contact us that day, but I could tell she was furious. It didn't help that people started asking her questions after Lydia posted a Thanksgiving picture that didn't include Mom or Aaron. In December, Mom started a group chat with all of us and Dad, saying it was time to stop the petty drama and focus on family. But none of us are stupid. We all knew she wanted to show off her perfect family at Christmas, and she couldn't do that with most of her kids avoiding her. Aaron was in the group chat, but didn't say anything, which was unusual for her. At the time, none of us thought much of it. Dad said he'd visit Lexi, but had no interest in spending Christmas with Mom unless she was ready to admit the harm she'd caused. A week later, she ignored my birthday, which was fine. It just confirmed she had no intention of admitting her mistakes. As Christmas got closer, Mom grew more desperate. The calls and messages started up again, but I mostly ignored them. What I couldn't ignore was coming home from work and finding her at my door. She claimed she'd been waiting for a long time, as if I'd been expecting her visit and did it on purpose. Honestly, she probably thought I did, given the state of our relationship. I'm grateful my family wasn't home. Jade was on her way back from work, and our son was with her parents. I didn't want to invite Mom inside, but I also didn't want to deal with her in public where the neighbors could see. She said Christmas was about family and forgiveness, and accused me of keeping her grandson away from her, as if I were using him to punish her. I told her it was better this way because we all knew what would happen if Aaron ever had a child. My son would be pushed aside, just like we were, and I didn't want that for him. She called me ridiculous and repeated her usual line, "I love you all equally." I asked her to leave, saying nothing would change my stance and I wasn't spending Christmas with her. She got angry and started yelling. I wish I could say I kept my composure, but I didn't. I yelled back. Years of pain came rushing to the surface. I don't think I'll ever understand how she can claim to love us all equally, but then tell her crying child to stop being so dramatic. She only left when Jade arrived and saw the state I was in. Jade may be small, but she's fierce, and will do anything for me and our son. I swear Mom looked terrified of her that day. The social media posts ramped up again after that. She played the victim, sharing posts about ungrateful children who don't respect the sacrifices mothers make. We ignored her. Our own Christmas was perfect. Jade, our son, and I visited her parents in the morning, watched the kids open presents, and then went to Lydia's house. She offered to host this year. Dad took charge in the kitchen, joined by his assistant chefs, Jose and Lydia's husband. It was better than I could have imagined. After all, I got married in April without my mom being present. Without a doubt, it was one of the best days of my life, only surpassed by the birth of my son. Jade and I were surrounded by the people who mattered most to us and who truly cared for us in return. My two brothers were my best men, and Nadia and Lydia were bridesmaids. It was better than I could have ever imagined. Honestly, I'm still amazed by the fact that I can now call Jade my wife. It's been incredible. But I'm sure everyone is wondering how my mom handled all of this. Let me tell you plainly, she didn't handle it well. When we sent out the invitations, a part of me hoped the news wouldn't reach her. I hoped everything would go smoothly enough that I wouldn't need to discuss this decision with her. But of course, that would have been too easy. A few days later, she showed up at my door, banging on it and demanding to talk. I stepped outside but didn't let her in, even knowing the neighbors might see us. I just didn't want her inside my house where my son was. I didn't want her to scare him like she was surely scaring me. She demanded to know what I was up to, how I could be so cruel, and how I could exclude her from such a special day. I made it clear that my wedding was a day to celebrate with my closest loved ones, and she was no longer someone I considered close or dear. She had made her choices, and she had to live with them. Part of me feared she might show up at my wedding. She came by the house a few more times, but stopped after I threatened to call the police. I didn't do it earlier because, deep down, I guess I'm soft, and I didn't want to see my mom in trouble. But every time she showed up to spout nonsense about what a terrible son I was for excluding her, it drained me. Of course, there were posts on social media. Relatives contacted me saying I should invite her and questioning what kind of son I was. But they stopped. Once I told them I'd also revoke their invitations. No one mentioned my mom at the wedding, and she didn't try to show up. However, she did try to stop Lexi from being the flower girl, as I had promised. Thankfully, my dad quickly put an end to that. Which brings me to the next point. My parents are officially divorced. My dad sent her the divorce papers in February, and I don't think he's looking back. This surprised me because, around this time last year, he was very much like her. Someone who cared more about Aaron than any of us. Someone who ignored our achievements if they clashed with hers. Now, he's our biggest advocate. Whenever my mom posted something negative about us on social media, he countered with a post praising us. I never imagined having such a good relationship with my dad, but here we are. We helped him move into his own place in March. He's like a new man, honestly. He's arranged a 50-50 custody agreement for Lexi. Although he'd love to have full custody, he wants to believe my mom can change, just as he did. However, he's made it clear that if he sees even the slightest sign of Lexi being mistreated like we were, he'll take legal action. As for my siblings, they're doing well too. Leo got a promotion at work and adopted a dog that my son is obsessed with, to the point that I think we might need to get a dog too. Joss and his partner are doing great. His partner fits perfectly into our family, and I couldn't be happier for him. I can tell he's in love, and maybe there'll be wedding bells for him soon. Lexi is only 5, so there's not much happening in her life yet. Recently, she got my dad to join one of her tea parties, which was adorable. On a serious note, Lexi is obviously aware that things have changed. She's naturally confused by it all. So much has shifted in the span of a year, and I can't imagine what it was like for her to live with our parents when my mom was angry all the time. We've made it clear that we'll always be here for her, and that she's in a safe space with us if she ever wants to talk about her feelings or has any questions. Jaws, who works in childcare and has experience with situations like this, has been a big help. My dad is even considering therapy for her. Nadia is doing great. Honestly, she's thriving. I think being away from our mom, Erin, and the pressures at home has really helped her find herself. She's made new friends, is excelling in school, and is generally a much happier person, which is all that matters to me. She's happy. I'm happy. She's been invited to move in with Dad now that he has his own place and enough room for her and Lexi, but she hasn't decided yet. She's more than welcome to stay here if she wants, but I know she also wants to be closer to Dad. I'll support her no matter what. I told her she can try living with Dad, and if it feels too strange, she can always come back. Erin, on the other hand, is a different story. We're not completely out of contact with her anymore, but it's still limited. After what happened at Lexi's party, Leo reached out to see if she was being sincere. We were all pretty unsure about what to do, to be honest. Erin was never the type to lower her head and apologize, so how could we know if this was genuine and not just an attempt to get us to forgive Mom or something? Erin asked to meet with us in person when Leo reached out, and we agreed because we were curious to see how it would go. We also decided that if she tried anything, we'd leave immediately and block her again. The meeting happened mid-January between Lexi's and Leo's birthdays. We met at her house. Erin looked like a nervous wreck, like she hadn't slept all night. It was honestly strange to see her like that because she's usually so composed. Even during her tantrums, she looked better than this. We sat down, and she started by apologizing again. She admitted she had been unnecessarily cruel and unfair to us, especially Nadia, and even apologized for trying to ruin her graduation. Erin said that when we all pulled out of her wedding, she felt confused and hurt because none of us had told her beforehand. She thought we were closer than that, but now she realizes she was delusional. She thought we were close, but really, we wanted to stay as far away from her as possible. We asked her questions, and she answered each one. Why did you think we were close? She said it was partly because of how she was treated growing up by our parents and how they encouraged her behavior towards us. She assumed we were fine with it because we never spoke up. Did you ever regret it? Not until all of this happened. She said being the center of attention was just normal for her, and she's trying to unlearn that now. Why now? She said it came down to her husband, George. He had tried talking to her about how she treated us, but she never saw a problem because we hadn't made it one before. He didn't like her response, but he loved her and hoped that continuing the conversations would eventually make her change. They fought when she announced her engagement on Lydia's anniversary, and again when she booked her party on Nadia's birthday. He couldn't understand how she could be so cruel to her family. She told him he didn't understand our family dynamic and that we were okay with it. The graduation incident nearly broke their relationship, and George admitted he had come very close to leaving her over it. She said she sided with Mom for a while because she really thought we were just acting out. We had never behaved like that before, so she couldn't understand why we were cutting her off. George told her we had likely carried that pain and bitterness for years, and she admitted she hadn't realized how terrible she was until George and Dad explained it to her. That's why she told Mom to leave us alone, so we could have peace. Turns out, Dad wasn't the only one bearing the brunt of Mom's anger. Mom constantly called Erin, showed up at her house, and dragged our names through the mud. It got worse after Dad moved out, leaving Erin as her only support. Mom told Erin she was all she had left now. George confirmed how bad it was, saying he often came home to find Erin staring at her phone, knowing Mom was calling but not wanting to answer. If she didn't, Mom would eventually show up at her door. I know Erin was terrible to us growing up, but it genuinely hurt to see her like this. I think she was also a victim of Mom's behavior, albeit in a very different way. Erin said she had wanted to reach out earlier, but didn't think we'd want to talk to her. She couldn't hold back after seeing us at Lexi's party and felt the need to apologize. We left the meeting feeling conflicted. On one hand, Erin had always been selfish, manipulative, and downright cruel. She always found a way to overshadow us, as proven by Nadia's graduation. But on the other hand, she looked exhausted, worn down, and genuinely remorseful. I didn't want to believe this was all an act to make us forgive her, and then forgive Mom. None of us were sure how to proceed, but Jade suggested inviting Erin to the wedding reception. A few friends who couldn't attend the wedding itself due to prior commitments would be there. If Erin tried to bring Mom, security would handle it, and we'd know for sure if she had truly changed. Erin came to the reception without Mom, and didn't even mention her. She and George arrived, and Erin cried while congratulating me. She told Jade she looked beautiful, and hugged my son. At one point she pulled Nadia aside, and when they returned, both were a bit emotional. Later, Nadia told me Erin had wanted to properly apologize to her one-on-one and wasn't sure she'd get another chance. George thanked me for giving Erin the opportunity. He told me that she truly has the potential to be a warm and kind person. I told him I hoped to meet that version of her one day, and I meant it. If Erin really is as kind, gentle, and wonderful as George believes, then I want nothing more than to meet that version of my sister. Now, you might be wondering why I didn't mention Lydia when I was talking about my siblings earlier. That was intentional. You see, it's a good thing Dad has moved out of his guest room because she's going to need that space in a few months, and she's not the only one. I knew Lydia was pregnant because she sat Jade and me down to share the news. She was worried about her bridesmaid dress and even offered to step down if it became a problem. Of course, we told her not to be ridiculous and assured her we'd cover any necessary alterations before the wedding. Jade told me she planned for Lydia to make an announcement during the speeches. Naively, I assumed Lydia would share her pregnancy news with our extended family. I was a bit hesitant, but agreed because Jade wanted this, and at least Lydia had gotten permission, unlike someone else we know. Lydia's speech, however, wasn't just about her pregnancy. She talked about how excited she was to become a mom and how grateful she was to share part of her pregnancy journey with Jade and me. That's how I found out my wife is expecting our second child. Again, I wish I could say I kept my composure, but I didn't. I cried. I was so overwhelmed with happiness that I couldn't help it, and I'm sure my friends will tease me about it for years. In that moment, it felt like everything we'd endured over the past year was worth it. Having my family together at an event that, under different circumstances, might have been overshadowed by Erin, or worse, my mom, was incredible. I haven't talked much about how I felt over the past year. Honestly, I felt like expletive most of the time. I wanted to shrink and disappear. I felt rotten and useless simply because my mom kept telling me I was. Sometimes, I felt like I couldn't show my emotions because no one else was around, and I didn't want to make them feel worse than they already did. Now, I'm in therapy. I'm not the only one, and I'm healing. Right now, I'm happy. I'm so incredibly happy that I can barely believe it. I'm happier than I've ever been, and I know my siblings would say the same. Meanwhile, our mom probably thinks our family has fallen apart. That's not true. Her family, the one she tried to create, has fallen apart. But our family has become stronger. We've grown incredibly close. We were a united front before, but now it feels like we've fortified our defenses. We're coming out of this with stronger relationships, a real connection with our dad, and 2 new family members on the way. This is what our mom is missing out on, and it's her own fault. Maybe I'll update you all again in the future. I'm not sure if our mom knows about Lydia and Jade's pregnancies yet, but the announcements are out there. However, we've blocked her on social media, so maybe no one's told her the good news. Aaron hasn't, at least. If anything happens on that front, I'll let you know. For now, though, I'm happy with where my life is. Thank you all for your support once again, and I hope you have an amazing day. Yedit. I think I've mentioned several times in the comments that I want to forgive Aaron. After all, I forgave our dad, so I want to forgive her too. But right now, we're keeping her at a certain distance because she still hurt us. I admit our parents are largely to blame, both mom and dad, but that doesn't change the fact that Aaron caused us pain. We're working on it, just like we're working on things with our dad. It's not easy, and it doesn't always make sense to outsiders, but we're doing our best. It's not like anyone taught us how to navigate something like this, you know? The camera is already installed and working. In fact, after the last time she showed up at our door, Jose brought one over to install because he was worried she might try something again. He's a good older brother. I might be a good brother too, but I had to learn that from somewhere, and that was from my older siblings. I wouldn't have survived this past year without them. I think Lydia already has cameras installed too, but I'll have to check. If not, I have no doubt Joss will take care of it. This has definitely been a journey. Before all this started, I genuinely thought my life would always be the same. I thought my siblings and I would always come second to Aaron. I thought we'd have to fight for scraps of our parents' attention. But now everything is different. We're better. I'll definitely update you in the future, even if it's just to announce the birth of the babies.